Okay, so it is 10:35 on my clock, so we'll get started. So welcome to session 14, Data-Driven Buildings. My name's Hayley Monks. I run a training consultancy company that's focused in the utilities and related company sector. I'm your moderator for today's session. I'd like to welcome our four excellent speakers today. So if I can get you to introduce yourselves one at a time, yourself and your business. Can we start with Sona, please?
Hi, everyone, and thank you for having us. I'm Soner, the CEO of Beats Technologies, and what we do is basically we are creating two-dimensional models of commercial buildings by creating real-time data from throughout the building in order to understand human behavior and the occupancy patterns and integrate that directly to the building's operations so that to make buildings, especially commercial buildings, more efficient and sustainable without needing too much human intervention.
Sona. Dan?
Hi everyone, Dan here. I'm CEO of Measurable Energy. We've created a platform which is a system that's designed to identify and eliminate any wasted energy from commercial buildings. We've like replacement power sockets, and we have machine learning that essentially sits across fleets of power sockets to identify and then uses those power sockets to just turn off wasted energy when it's not there. We think we can save about 20% of a building's total energy, so it's a big thing, hopefully. Today, I'm here to sort of represent early stage startups and really give across the message that new innovations within businesses really require a new paradigm to for innovations to thrive, basically. So I'm looking forward to today's session.
Thank you, Dan. Christine.
Hi, I'm Christine Boyle, CEO of Synergy. Having spent over 20 years in the commercial roofing sector, I decided to have a look at how we could combine solar and roofing, particularly in the heating and cooling space, so solar thermal panels. And what we've done is we've used advanced materials, additive manufacturing and digitalization to reduce the cost of solar thermal panels by 50%. This means we can cover a lot more roof space, collect a lot more energy, deliver that heat energy not just into direct hot water, but also into space heating and cooling in the building. And we can also have the economic case now for storing excess energy in the summer months and pumping it back into buildings in the winter months. And of course, the digital platform that we have now allows the end user to understand, control, and optimize their own supply of heat energy from the sun.
Christine, sounds really interesting. Thomas.
Good morning, Hayley, and hi from a west Dublin. I'm Thomas McGrath, the co-founder and chief executive of Cognition. Cognition is a provider of operational intelligence via our operational intelligence platform, Cognition World. We provide Internet of Things-led analytics inside asset-intensive organizations to help operational managers understand the performance of their buildings, to help them either reactively into operations when their operations goes out of tolerance, or to proactively look at the trends in terms of peaks and troughs of their performance on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. So, I'm here today to talk about how Internet of Things technology is being widely adopted and the significant benefits that our clients are seeing from that. In terms of my own background, I spent the first 15 years or so of my career in professional services, focusing on performance improvement and operational effectiveness. So the move into using data capture and analytics to help drive performance seems like a no-brainer for me and the team here at Cognition. But now our objective is to introduce as low cost and as highly scalable and as simple to use solutions to help asset owners and operational managers and building managers to really exploit the value of the data that exists inside their business and to gain real insights from what they may or may not see to drive cost down, to increase productivity, and to help increase compliance. And most importantly, obviously, the big agenda item is to help everyone to become more sustainable.
Thank you. So let's get kicks off straight away. We're looking at maybe some breakthrough innovation. And the first question I've got is for you, Christine, in terms of, all your years in commercial building, what development triggered the opportunity? When did you see actually there was a breakthrough idea here or a product opportunity?
Firstly, I saw the problem with solar thermal in the integration. So on the building site, there were always fights and arguments in the site hut around the installation of the technology, the cost of the technology, and the difficulties that the technology presented. So for me, it was, first of all, witnessing the problem firsthand. Then I was aware in the roofing industry that we were starting to use more elastomeric polymeric materials that were stronger, longer lasting, and more cost effective. I then knew that we could manufacture these in a mass-produced, very cost-effective way. And then, of course, as Thomas just introduced, the Internet of Things, and how if we put sensors in these technologies in roofing systems, that we could then allow the optimization of supply and demand of the energy. So it was a whole collaboration of different things in materials, in manufacturing, and in digitalization that all came about. And so it was all very timely. And I think that was probably the most important thing, that all of these things came about at a critical time that allowed me then to take the innovation to the next stage.
Building on that, I mean, it's that balance of innovation at the data side of it, isn't it? Being able to understand actually how the building might be functioning or what might be happening. Dan, from your technologist viewpoint, how is that being taken now and being used more in buildings? How could other businesses build on this information?
I think it's like a brave new world of new ways to look at buildings and to take data and do stuff with that. And I think really from a building manager's, from a facilities manager's point of view, I think they have to do sort of maybe two things. One is to have an open mindset of what data can provide them with. It's fine to say, that they know how building works, and I'm sure they do know how buildings work, but it's also fair to say that with data, there are things that you just don't know. How much power something's using, how much energy you could save by doing something in a slightly different way. And I think on top of that, the other thing is to know that innovation and disruption with technologies doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to disrupt you as a workforce, you as a facilities management team. In fact, it's probably going to help you. And so it's to keep that open mind, that pathway to innovation, to really to take that on board and to open up to those innovations. I think that's something we've encountered recently, is the resistance to try and do something new is always there, and that's perhaps unfounded because of the new breakthroughs in technology that allow you to do things much easier. So yeah, I think that's how.
So building on that, and your experience, Sona, of having to maybe change mindset or convince people of the need to do this or the importance of it, what have you done on that basis?
I think especially, like, also I agree with Dan and Christina as well, and I think it's right now, especially like real estate investors, construction companies, or retails, or like whoever that's connected with especially commercial buildings, they would like to get information from their buildings anytime, anywhere, instantly. And I think also because of COVID showed that it is really much more important to understand what's going on in those buildings without too much depending on human input or without depending on human intense operations. And I think that's also helped us to convince and engage those either like the tenants or the building owners to convert their traditional business into digital and data-driven business. So, and because they were seeing those buildings as concrete structures, so like there was this hype about smart buildings, but at the end of the day, those buildings were as smart as the people that are using those systems. So there was always need of like creating more information and basically converting those buildings into more and less autonomous adaptive buildings. And I think right now those owners of the build, like those people that are using those buildings, they are right now looking much more engagement level with the building itself, and that is also what we are right now experiencing as well. Like especially nowadays, it is really not a need but a must for them to have these kind of technologies, and that's help us also to convince them, but also to engage them to our system or to any system that is basically creating more data.
Thomas, what are your thoughts on that? Because your company focuses more on the industrial sector, isn't it?
Yeah, so from our perspective, we wanted to tackle this sense of incompleteness that exists inside a building. And effectively, one of the challenges our clients face was this sense of these legacy assets and these legacy systems that they had procured and felt they were stuck with. And they really weren't extracting the total value they could get out of their facilities. So for us, our perspective was, okay, everyone talks about technology and these new technologies, they'll come and they'll solve all your problems. But actually, the big challenge for clients is they don't understand technology, and technology is only an enabler. So, our perspective was to really push technology to the side and move the argument around how we can bring greater intelligence to the operation. So, for the Internet of Things, that's really about finding low-cost, long-life devices that can work over low bandwidth technologies to capture lots and lots of data points as effectively as possible. So getting data, ingesting it into some sort of widely accessible platform, and then allowing the client to engage with the thing they're most interested in, which is the visualization of the data. And that, can come in a number of forms. So most clients really only want to know what's going on when there's a problem. And yes, okay, when it comes to monthly reviews or quarterly reviews, they definitely want some KPIs to understand how they're achieving their targets. But the big barrier to adoption of IoT-led analytics was that most people didn't find it easy. A lot of the solutions on the marketplace were revolving around vendor lock-in. So you buy expensive kit from vendors and they want to keep you there. The challenge for our clients, and one thing we're addressing at Cognition with Cognition World, is the provision of do-it-yourself, self-install devices, which an idiot like me can install as quickly and as simply as possible. To help move away from this perception that Internet of Things is challenging and requires a lot of systems integration. So, we always say to our clients, start easy. You don't need lots of data. Pick some small data sets, get comfortable with it, understand how it can help you flex and optimize your operation, and then start moving forward.
Thomas, what would you add to that, Dan, in terms of the data and the importance of understanding that data?
Well, it's funny. I completely agree with what Thomas was saying. Taking our very niche area, which is power consumption through power sockets in buildings, and taking it a step further, in that we split what we do with that into two things. One is that we actually try and take away as much data overload as possible. Our sensors kind of record data at 3 times per second, so that's way too much data for someone to sit and analyze. Also, we don't think people really want to sit there and analyze that data. They just kind of want to know what's going on and how can they do something with it to save money. And that's that's totally what our system is revolving around, is to provide that key service of saving them money, saving them greenhouse gas emissions, and saving them time as well. So that's what our system's built around, and we don't try and take over anything else. We don't want to take over the building management system. As Thomas said, we're totally open to integrating with APIs, and I think with other building management systems via APIs. And that's something that's so important right now, is for different vendors, different operators to be able to integrate with each other. And I think on the other side of it, our technology is really designed as well for people to make behavioral changes to their own power use behavior. And that, we want, right now, if you were in office, you wouldn't really understand anything about solar panels. You wouldn't really understand anything about power use through electricity points. And we kind of want to change that. We want to make what was intangible idea into more of a tangible idea. And by giving them data that's simplified, for sure, not this overload of crazy sensor data, but something that's really simplified to help them make a decision, I think is really important going forward for everyone. If people can understand what's going on with everything in their personal workspace, whether it be at home or whether it be at work, if they can understand that data, they can make decisions based on it. Hopefully it's going to be a good decision, positive for the climate and positive for energy consumption. Maybe it's not, but that's their own choice. And I think giving people the decision and the data to make the decision simply and quickly is really vital to what the whole industry is doing now.
Thank you. How easy is it to do this kind of thing, Sona? How easy is it to retrofit or fit it out in offices and buildings?
Like what we see, especially for the last 3 to 5 years, is especially those big traditional companies that has dominated the BMS or HVAC or smart buildings technologies. They are right now opening up their system so that it can also speak with third-party integrations like ours, and that is also showing them that those systems are right now also changing their core structure as well, and so that the integrations or retrofits can be done much more easily without needing too much experience, or without needing a really big team, or without being dependent on the vendor or buying new licenses. And that can be just a system that can be integrated on top of the existing systems. And that is also showing us that is really important. Step one is also always important, doing these analytics, giving reports, but also taking the next step and creating more in this, as I said, these autonomous systems as well that can decide by themselves how to start the HVAC system or BMS system. And that is, I think that will also be the next the future as well in those systems, because those companies are right now, most of them, I can say that they have these open API systems that Dan said, but also they have these open integration systems for these kind of additional new innovations that is moving really fast. And in our case, it is really a straightforward and easy process in integration, the system, the sensors, but also the controlling feature as well, and that will also be the next normal, I guess, especially in PropTech.
Okay, and with all this innovation or the data that is taken from these innovations, convincing people and getting these things set up, even though they're brilliant, takes time and money, doesn't it? And Christine, you managed to secure 1.8 million at your early stage that allowed Senergy to progress from concept to commercialization. How difficult was it to get that? And what advice might you give to other businesses that are going down that route?
For us, we were fortunate in the UK that we have the organisation Innovate UK, who are actively seeking solutions and actively seeking to support solutions. But I think getting to the next stage, I think we're relying on corporates, incumbents, financial institutions to get behind new technologies. And I think we are getting to a tipping point now where people are starting to understand the benefits, and that particularly with COVID-19, that we need to build back better. We need to understand that data and all of the innovation that comes with that can make real changes, not just in technology and industry, but in people's lives. And I think that's the most important thing. Whilst we're all working on our individual companies and technologies, it's really the changes that we're making in people's lives that's making a difference. So I think even finance is starting to get that message and starting getting behind that. And I think I'd like to see more corporates getting involved because their technologies or their industries, are going to be disrupted. And I think it will make life much easier if we work together rather than battling against one another in this energy transition.
As we're approaching our last 5 minutes, it would be really good to hear a bit from all of you around the challenges of getting digital transformation right. Which technologies will provide the most benefit in the digitalization of buildings? I don't mind who wants to go first. Christine, should we stick with? Oh, go on, Thomas. Go ahead.
I'm happy to go first, Hayley. So, you know, for us, being able to extract data from buildings as sustainably and cost effectively as possible, you know, is a key requirement. So we see the low power wide area network technologies as a really good way of transmitting large amounts of data. So LoRa technologies and Sigfox technologies, they are perfect for sending small packets of data on a frequent basis. When you couple that with the advances in cloud and database technology, we're able to give some really impactful insights to clients to help them understand how to optimize their buildings. You know, to overcome some of the fears that clients may have around the data, the technology exists. It's not really the technology that they need to be worrying about, is how they can understand the value that is currently wasted inside their operation that they need to get their hands on as quickly as possible through the analytics.
Christine, what were your thoughts on that? Which technology will provide benefit in the digitalization of our buildings?
I don't think it'll be any individual technology. I think it'll be the ones that are most affordable. Because at the end of the day, cost is key. And we can bring in all sorts of wild and wonderful technologies, but if people can't afford them. And I think the most important thing is to understand that it has to be affordable for everyone. So it's not just about being affordable for bringing in, you know, hardware or infrastructure that the working class or the middle class can afford. We've got to bring in technologies that bring everyone with us on this journey, and affordability for me is the key thing.
Dan, what are your thoughts on that?
I've got two main points, I think. One, and this is something that we've built into our own approach, and I think this should be built into every new technology. One is that technology should last, especially within a building. It's great to have cool technology that looks good, but if it's either out of date because of software in a year or because the hardware doesn't last more than 3 or 4 years, it's from an environmental point of view, it's a bit silly. And from a user's point of view, it's also almost a waste of money because you're gonna have to come back to it in the future. I also think technology that provides a measured impact and provides a purpose to what it's doing is really important as well. There's a ton of cool tech that's out there, but you know, some of it it's questionable about what it's doing and why it's there. It kind of looks cool, it might do great things, but if it's not really providing a purpose for business, it seems silly way to invest in. So those are my 2 points.
Thank you. And finally, Sona, what were your views on the on that?
I think it will be like in our case, what we see is like, especially those systems should be like connected, and instead of like being really fragmented all around and like different systems, different platforms, different data, and it should be like aggregated like as a one system that can also integrate it into different applications or different even verticals, like from smart city applications, like from urban transportation into into other verticals like insurance, like property insurance and this kind of stuff. And because at the end of the day, those buildings, they create those cities, and the data that we are creating and converting those buildings into data sources, those should be connected within each other as well, so that instead of having these really different systems working with in different places, and it is becoming again really fragmented and siloed. But I think it will be also like a system that will be just speaking with each other and also like sharing the data within each other as well. And that is also what we see in the future, in the near future as well.
Excellent, thank you. Well, that's all we have time for in our session now. So in terms of the future of data-driven buildings, I think you could sum it up in terms of technology and insights with the data, affordability and accessibility, so that it's something that there for all, and collaboration. So if those of you watching and listening have any further questions, you can make direct contact with our panel of experts here and put your questions straight to them. I hope you enjoyed the session, and thank you for coming.